Hello YouTube friends, today I'm going to show you how to color your hair. That's right, as some of you may know, I am a licensed cosmetologist in the state of Minnesota, meaning that I am licensed to do hair care, skincare, and nail care here in Minnesota, and whew, my grays are getting bad, my friends. They are getting bad. So I don't know about you, but it's definitely time for me to color this hair. So I'm going to show you exactly how to apply hair color and give you some tips, tricks, and pointers. Normally I would not recommend that you color your hair yourself, but you can't always go to the salon right now. In fact, we shouldn't. And they've been closed down here in the state of Minnesota, so I'm going to give you some tips and tricks. So stick around. If you are new here, I just want to say hi, my name is Meredith, and I don't normally look like this in every video. So if you are new here, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around. I do normally do all kinds of shopping hauls, grocery hauls, and I also do unboxings of subscriptions, fashion, lifestyle, and beauty. So if that sounds like a good time, let's hang out more often. All right, so several things. First of all, when you're going to color your hair, I never ever recommend box dye. Again, just putting that out as a disclaimer. And I also recommend that you never bleach your own hair. Leave that for a professional. It is possible to give yourself scalp burns if you do it incorrectly or use it too strong of a developer or leave it on too long. So it's really something that you don't want to try for yourself. So if you do go out to a place like Sally's Beauty Supply or the local beauty supply store in your area, you're going to need a bottle, especially if the color comes in a little bottle as opposed to a tube. And some hair colors that come in a tube do use a bowl and brush as opposed to a bottle. So definitely make sure and read the packaging instructions or ask a sales clerk for assistance on that. And you're also going to need, so that tube of hair color or that bottle of hair color, and you're also going to need what is known as an activator or a developer. Now, the developer you need depends on what type of hair color you are trying to achieve. So, for most of us who are really going to be worried about this, we're going to be trying to cover gray. Now, for that, you are going to want something that says 20 volume. Now, mine is a little bit different. It says 15. But normally, right here, it will say 20 volume, 10 volume, 30, 40. Stay away from the 30 and 40. That's going to start to get you into trouble. That's something that's going to lift a lot of natural hair color out of your hair, and you're going to end up with that orangey, brassy, yellowy tones by using something that's too strong, especially if you don't know the right ratio of color. It's a whole thing. Okay, so stick with 20 volume if you're trying to cover gray. If you're just trying to darken your hair a little bit, use a 10 volume. Okay, if you're trying to cover gray, you need something that is labeled as an N. So when you have your tube of hair color, hold on, grabbing the wrong box, you're gonna have something that looks like this. It's gonna say 5N. Sometimes it will also say something like 5.35 or 5.4, and sometimes that second number after the decimal point is going to be telling you the tone of the color. Each number will represent a specific shade. So for example, 3 in the color line that I use is gold. So if you're going to cover gray, you're going to need most to all N in your formula, or neutral. Now I am using a level 5, which is a little bit on the darker side. It's a brown. So make sure you look at the little swatches. They usually have cards that have different hair samples on there that will kind of show you, and try and get an N to as close to your natural color as possible. You don't want to try and go really, really dark or really, really light. You want to try to stay as close to your natural color as possible, because when you get farther away, that's when all those weird, crazy hair colors that you're going to wear a baseball cap over for weeks will happen. Okay. So now the other thing is you want to part your hair into 4 quadrants. So I've parted it here because that is where I normally part my hair. So you're going to want to part with the part you use. If you part in the middle, part in the middle. If you part to the side or this side, part there. Okay, and then I've clipped it. In each section, you're going to do quadrants. So here's what that looks like. really, really cute, right? Yeah, let's not go out of the house like that. So you can use actual hairstylist clips. You can use the random clips that are in your drawer from, 1998. Those work great too. You're gonna want some gloves if you can find them. And I'm gonna go ahead and mix up my hair color now. And most of the time you're gonna use a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning if you use 1 ounce of color, you're gonna want 1 ounce of developer. And usually that is on the bottle. I recommend that you measure out your developer first. And a lot of times your tubes of hair color, if you end up getting a tube, they are labeled on the side and it will say half or a quarter, half, 3/4, full. And then most tubes of hair color are 2 ounces. Every once in a while you'll get a brand that does it differently, so double check on your tube, but usually it's 1 ounce, 2 ounces total. So, all right, so I have my glove on and my hair color is mixed. So we're going to go ahead and start applying. Now, if you are trying to cover gray, I recommend that you start up at the top where everyone's going to see it, because gray can be a little bit stubborn. And I'm literally taking my brush and I'm going from where my regrowth is to where my regrowth ends. So making sure to cover that. And it's better to use a little too much hair color, in my personal opinion, than it is to not put on enough, because otherwise you're going to end up with patches where you will not have coverage. Now, as you can see, I've parted it from the crown of my head to right behind my ear here. And so I'm going to go ahead and go along that line as well and sort of carve out my quadrant. And I'm going to go down here. Can you tell I had a baby and then all my hair's still growing back? So I'm going to carve out the bottom of my section, and I'm going to do the same thing in the front, right along my hairline. So you want to make sure that you get all of those little teeny tiny baby hairs in the front, but you also want to be careful not to get too much of it on your face either. Got a towel over here. You're also going to want the rattiest, ugliest towel you own, and you're going to want to make sure that you're using a shampoo and conditioner when you wash this out that are safe for color treated hair. If you have a nice conditioning mask that maybe you got in a subscription box, I recommend that you use that. If you cannot purchase hair color in your local area right now due to maybe beauty supply stores being closed, I do know that there is an online company called Madison Reed. I have not used this service, so I cannot speak to it and its quality. However, I do know that you fill out an online quiz and they select a color for you and mail it to your house. So there is that. Please note, normally I do this in the mirror, so I'm sorry if I'm not looking directly at the camera for this whole video, because I'm trying to see myself in the viewfinder of the camera instead of the mirror. So, how are we doing? Feel free to leave me any of your questions down below if there's something that I forget to explain to you guys, or if you're just curious, let me know. So, what shampoo and conditioner are you guys using? Do you have a favorite brand? Is there a deep conditioning treatment that you swear by? I always like to know that. I really like Kerastase, I think is an amazing shampoo and conditioner brand. I really like Shuamora. And I've really been liking R&Co more recently. They have great stuff. As far as shampoos and conditioners go, I haven't used very many of their styling products, but I have used several R&Co shampoos and conditioners and I like them. Okay, so that is my first quadrant done. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull all of this over here, and you can clip that section back together. Now if you're trying to cover gray, this is what you will do, and you can also, when you are done, go through and paint just a few pieces if you want, or you can wait and that'll kind of give it a slightly highlighted effect. Technically you're putting in low lights because a lot of times gray hair that is colored tends to fade throughout the 4 to 6 weeks or 8 weeks that you go between hair colors. So that can be one way to refresh it. Another way that you can do that, see, and we're going to go back and we're going to carve out that section again with the hair color. Another thing you can do is you can wait till about, the last 10 minutes of your processing time. Each brand is slightly different, so make sure again that you're reading the package so that you know the manufacturer's recommendation for how long to process the hair color and stick to it. Don't be going crazy and leaving it on. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. But yeah, timing. Make sure you are really paying attention to that. And to be honest, set a timer. Don't think you're gonna remember, because I've done that so many times where I'm like, I think I put it on 10 minutes ago, but now I can't remember. Set a timer. Set it on your phone. Set it on your microwave. Just set a timer. It's important. And then you're gonna do the exact same thing. And I am taking 1/2-inch sections. You don't want to try and take a big, huge chunk of a section, or you're going to end up with spots that are not covered in the middle. So 1/2-inch sections, making sure you're really getting all the way to the root there and painting it out in both directions. Now, if you're using a bottle to apply hair color, simply use the nozzle of the bottle to carve out your next section. Or you can use a rat tail comb if you don't feel comfortable using the bottle. But yeah, definitely make sure to wash your hair thoroughly. Rinse your hair very, very well. Try and get as much of the hair color out before you even bother to start shampooing. And then shampoo twice, being careful to really get all of that hair color off of your scalp. Very important. You don't want any of it to be sitting on there when all is said and done. So rinse and rinse and rinse, and then rinse some more, and then shampoo twice. And then definitely use a conditioning treatment, whichever one you have, or even your regular conditioner if you don't have a leave-in or like a treatment. Use your regular conditioner, but put it on like you would a treatment. So put it on, comb it through, leave it on for longer than you normally would. Now, I'm going to go ahead and finish this section off camera so that this isn't the longest hair color video in the world. Alright, so I finished this quadrant, and then what I like to do is I like to check right around my hairline for any big globs of hair color. So as you can see, got just a little bit right there and a little bit right there. So I find that it is very helpful to keep a Kleenex next to you while you're doing this, just in case, because you never know. The stuff can be pretty messy. And then I'm just going to take my clip, again, clip that section. And then one thing I'll do is I sometimes will go and just double check around my hairline before I move to the back and make sure I've gotten every little bit there. Yeah, I'm looking good now. The things I do for you people. And then we're going to go through the back, doing those 1/2-inch sections all the way down. Again, I'm not going to show you the whole thing because that will be boring and a bit redundant, but we're going to go ahead, now that we've unclipped that part. This guy, I think, escaped from over here. And I'm going to do the same thing. If you've been doing yoga, you will probably be so much more flexible and able to reach the back of your hair. So I'm going to do the same thing all the way down the back. So really just taking and painting it right up at the scalp. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to continue doing that all the way down. The other thing is you can go along and outline all the way to the bottom of your section and all the way around the whole thing. But yeah, so that's how you do it. and then you process it according to your manufacturer's directions and shampoo it out. All right. Oh, I think I was telling you that's what it was. I remember. So what you can do if you need to cover gray is when you are all done, you can use the last little bit if there is any hair color left. And at the last 10 minutes, you can add just a little bit of warm water to this and use your gloved hands to sort of smash it through your ends. It's called color smashing. It's very technical. And that will help with any fading that you get in between colorings for the rest of your hair. I do not, however, recommend painting it on right away. You definitely want to put your retouch on first to make sure you have enough color to do the entire retouch before you go in and add any color to your ends when you're covering gray. So anyways, definitely leave me your comments and your questions down below, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and I will try to make more hair content for you. And I'll try and answer any questions that you guys have to the best of my ability. And until next time, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and you know I'll be talking to you soon. Bye, guys.